experience. So obviously this is an extension of the Android platform. This is the first demo I've given, so this is going to be the fuzzy one. So basically what we have here is we have a phone, and obviously people are using phones in their cars today, and it's not necessarily the best kind of situation. And the applications and services that they're using have not been optimized for the car at all. So I just simply plug my phone into the car, and then you'll see that this is going to go into what's called projected mode, so you can just see that the phone is now ready. And I can park the phone, I don't really need the phone at all anymore. And then basically I just touch the logo and I'm straight into the experience. So it's funny, I've got my foot on the brake, it's like I'm actually going to drive the car, but no.
Into some.
Into the crowd. No, so basically you can see that we looked at the kind of activities and things that people do in the car while they're driving already. So they like to navigate, they like to communicate, they like to listen to music and kind of media. And also we've made a slot for other kind of like car related services and applications. And you can see here that actually we're in a central kind of area or central activity now. And this is kind of like a Google Now type space, or actually it's much closer to the way that Where works. So this is just the right information at just the right time. So for example, if I'd done a web search on my computer at home just before I got into the car, that would pop up here. Or if I was listening to music as I was getting into the car, this would also show here. And if, you know, somebody had just recently called me, that would show me here as well. So the idea is that we're continuing the journey before and after we've got into the car, as well as being able to do stuff within the car itself. So let's just kind of go through, I'll just kind of go through this. So this is the Maps experience, and basically you can see that this is very similar to the existing kind of Google Maps stuff that we all know and love. And we've tried to create a very simple version of the Maps experience, so I can just see suggestions kind of locally, or you can see that I can look at categories, so I can find local parking. This all works. We have a limited amount of time, so just trying to whiz through it. And you can see actually that when I'm doing this, that there's what we call a drawer here. It's always opening from the left-hand side, and that on the right-hand side there's a microphone. And this is a common pattern throughout all of the applications. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to say, well, hey, you know, right now when I'm using an app on my phone, I have to unload the mental model and reload a new mental model for every single application that I'm doing. And when you're driving, that's actually a distraction in itself.
Sure.
So we really wanted to make all of the applications as simple and as self-similar as possible. So we have this thing of the applications from a user's perspective being knowable and predictable. And so you'll see that even when we kind of go into music, it's essentially the same UI. If we go into the communication facet, it's essentially the same UI. You'll see that it's a very simple system, but it's also kind of like relatively flexible. So actually I'll just show, the other thing is I'm tapping the screen a lot. One of the things that we wanted this to be is a voice first experience. So we have kind of already, you know, car manufacturers have done a lot to kind of, this is just the radio playing by the way, but car manufacturers have already done a lot to optimize kind of things while I'm driving. So rather than having to click here, I can just say, navigate to Alamo Square.
Navigating to Alamo Square, San Francisco.
And so now you can see that we're just happily kind of like navigating to Alamo Square, and this is just going to play through it by itself. And we can do things like mute or unmute the voice. I mean, I can even just say mute navigation. So now it's going to mute it,
voice guidance.
So it won't tell me. But then if I kind of go back here, we can see that we can just start playing the music here. Excuse me.
Do you have to press the button?
Sorry, I'm going to change it to Google Play Music. There we go.
Can you say anything to it, like take me to Disneyland?
You could, yeah, of course. I mean, you can. It's. I'm not sure if. So you can see actually. I'll just quickly. This is what this is showing. You could see a notification, and that notification was for the Maps application. So the idea is, again, it's always just the right information at just the right time. So I'm just going to turn the volume down a bit.
And a great deal of design continuity from all the different devices and platforms.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, did you notice that when I went from Spotify to Google Play Music, that actually the user interfaces are almost identical?
Sure.
And that's on purpose, again, because we want the play button to be in the same place. And if there's a fast forward or next track button, we want that to be in the same place.
And if it's different, as you said before, it's a distraction to the driver.
Yeah, exactly, because we want people to be able to almost do it from the corner of their eye, or they can just really get to know the system, or
And they'll
there's a
never
new
even look.
application,
Yeah.
and they'll never even have to look. Yeah, exactly. And you can see, but we've still got, you know, thumbs up, thumbs down, sort of radio. Actually, if we're in a playlist, this would offer you shuffle. I'm just going to say stop navigation.
So if you go to, is that Spotify?
Stop navigation. Yeah, and so this is going to switch.
Navigation.
It's going to switch to the facet now, just to do that. But I'm just going to go back, and then I'll show you. Yeah, so we can switch between the different, what we call, basically, we have different kind of like applications or services in here for music right now. So you can see in here, we've got kind of like At Bat, we've got a bunch of them, Joyride, Pandora. So if we go, I don't know, something like Pandora or something. Okay, so I just have to choose something. Here you can see actually that their menu looks slightly different, and we've got the key color there from the UI. So we can still do some amount of customization, and there's still some opportunity for those companies to have some kind of branding. There's probably a little, some of this might change later on, but you know, pretty much it's kind of mostly there. So we can
is the experience in all the cars identical right now? All the cars?
Actually, it's almost identical. It's fundamentally the same system, but what we've done is we've taken what we're calling an adaptive approach to the different cars. So lots of the different car manufacturers have very, very different control spaces, and some of them are operating on fundamentally different paradigms. So for example, if you go to the Audi upstairs, that's actually not using a touchscreen at all. That's using this kind of like nudge-based and kind of dial-based kind of input. And so rather than making a completely customized experience for them, what we're doing is we're taking this experience and then we're kind of adapting it to that. So we actually can control the whole thing using hardware input as well, in a way that feels totally natural to that. And actually was a really difficult design problem for us to solve.